Morning, everyone, and I'll start with that wonderful example again. Those who missed can now answer. Suppose a genie was around us and the genie granted the teachers 3 wishes. Then what do you think your wishes would be? I already jumped up and told my wishes that I just want to know that my students should be listening to me, one, and they should be engaged, just like I'm trying and expecting them to be. And third would be to know whether they can really solve the problems beyond the textbook. So that is exactly what my action research project is all about. And mathematics, as we usually perceive, is a subject that is governed by rigid rules, formulae, procedures. However, at the core, there is a beautiful creative interplay of logic, reason, and discovery also. There's a lot of beauty that math contributes in nature. So the teaching that we do in the class needs to reflect that core along with the procedural efficiency. The traditional mathematics, the way we teach, the chalk and talk, where we feel that one size can fit all the students in the classroom, it disengages the students and leads to 3 problems that I have identified and felt over years of teaching. The first one is students' inability to apply the mathematical knowledge to real life situations. They can solve in the exam, but they cannot apply. Second problem is the difficulty that they face in making meaningful connections within the concepts and beyond the topics as well. And the third that I have mentioned is the disengagement, lack of motivation, boring hai, phobia hai, and there's no interest. So because of these problems, I was guided to work and look for something that could help me as a teacher move from the rote learning to the boring math classroom to something that is a little more interesting where the students are involved, they're happy. So basically the aim was to create a happy classroom. So constructivism is one of the educational philosophies that is being proclaimed, though it is not something new, but we'll quickly go through once. It is a learning, the theory of learning, which says that students learn by being actively engaged and not just when we use the transmission method. So before we delve deeper into what constructivism I used in my classroom, I quickly want all of you to visualize something. Just close your eyes and imagine yourself as a baby. All of you played with those blocks, some circular rings, some blocks. So did your parents or your elders or your siblings, the elder ones, did they make the block and the tar and give it to you? Or did you try it? You tried to fit in, you made errors. They told you, they showed you, we observed. And that is how, with this error, with the observation, we learned. Wasn't that true? You have to give me a yes quickly. The time is running. Yeah, that is how it happened. This is exactly what constructivism is. So moving apart from theoretically what all it entails, this is the core of constructivism, that we are capable of constructing meaning and learning. This is not a new phenomenon, and this is not a theoretical construct. It has got strong research backing in the works of Piaget, Vygotsky, Brunner. Even the cognitive research over the years suggests a strong impetus on students' ability to create meaning, to construct knowledge. NEP also lists out certain points you can all see, and these beautifully align with the constructivist principles. So for this research paper, there were 3 questions that I considered. The first research question was, how can the use of constructivist teaching, the strategies, influence my students' performance in a topic that I took? It was linear equations in 2 variables, class 10th. And the second was, how do the students respond to it in terms of the motivation, their attitude, their perception? So one was performance, one was more subjective. And the third was, how did the effects of the intervention that I was planning would differ between the higher achieving and the lower achieving students? So moving on with the research questions, I considered the theoretical framework. So all these philosophies that we have, there's a theoretical framework that we work with. So the step-by-step model that I used for the research is known as the interpretation construction model. So I'll not go into the depth, but the students are progressively interpreting and constructing this interpretation And that is how they're constructing meaning. So, yeah, so I used an action research model for my research. Being a teacher, my aim is to get to the final stage, the performance level. So, action research feeds the work into the system itself so that there is a continuous cycle of improvement for the students also. And who doesn't like good result? So, for the teacher as well. So I used a mixed method approach, quantitative as well as qualitative. Quantitative for the performance, the marks, and qualitative for their perceptions. So secondary school students, 84 students were selected, and the interventions that I used were all constructivist based. I'll quickly show you which one were those. For data collection, I used a combination of qualitative and quantitative tests. So pre and post tests for use, standardized test based on what CBSE suggests for class 10. Then student surveys, student feedback, and their entries in the math journals. Their self-assessment was part of the qualitative analysis. So this I have included. So I'll just quickly show you a few of the intervention resources that I used. This is a task sheet which worked on their previous knowledge assessment. So I started with real life scenarios, took them back to the real life scenarios. So instead of moving from concrete to abstract, my strategy was to go from abstract to concrete to abstract. So again, whatever misconceptions were there, they were brainstormed, they were discussed. So collaboration and error, making errors was highlighted. So there was a freedom for that. This is a Desmos activity. I'm sure most of the maths teachers love this software. So this was a Pac-Man inspired activity. So once you put game into a maths classroom, they don't know they are learning. So, but they were learning, they were doing coordinate geometry. There was wonderful collaboration because that is how the Desmos platform works. There is collaboration and there is construction of knowledge. I also moved from the algebraic ways of problem solving to the graphical. That was done through a question and prompt in the classroom. So like I asked something, somebody answered something, and that is how we progressed. So this was not just experiential, but also built in with reflective thinking for them and while they were interacting and communicating in the class. So this was the most popular activity. So I have done this for the last 5 years. So we have a huge assembly ground where we have drawn rows and columns. So it looks like a Cartesian plane and it also makes the assembly arrangement easier for everybody else. And it is a live Cartesian plane for us. So the concepts of linear equation being intersected, looking like lines. So those were conducted using that Cartesian plane. So the different kinds of learners were also involved. Some who like to use technology, they did that. Some enjoyed playing, moving. So those were also actively involved. So I also conducted the feedback. So these are some of the samples that students did. Some more activities where interaction and communication was highlighted. And these are some of the, again, more samples. So this was a very interesting activity. I'll quickly tell you. So like 5 kids are working in a group. The first one gets some problem, again, a real life problem, not two linear equations to solve. So from the real life problem, the first group, they write down the variables, let statements, then they pass it on to the next. The next group writes down the equation. The third group solves the equation in different ways. And that is why it is called a carousel activity. So the analysis that I conducted was, it's right here on the screen. For the traditional method, the mean, median, standard deviation, and variance was calculated, not just to see the progress, also to see the consistency in the classroom. There shouldn't be that some kids are doing very well and others are not able to do. So that is why variance and standard deviation was built in. And I also compared the results of the 84 students with the data collected for the previous years. So last 2 years data was compiled and this I grouped in terms of their grades. Since the research question that I had started with also wanted to explore the higher achieving and lower achieving and how does the strategies differ in those. So the research findings do suggest a positive impetus. The students did perform well, but more than the, I should say, the performance, the ability to think was what was impacted, and the enjoyment level and the way they were asking questions. That is what I felt was the biggest achievement of this paper. So I would like to finish it by saying that it is time to learn and relearn and forget and do new things and continue doing it. And that is what we are all here for too. Thank you.
Finishing exactly
Yes.
on time. So I now invite the second presenter, Renu Joshi. Our presentation is on innovations in mathematics teaching and learning, an experiential journey at foot of content. Can you please open her presentation?
Yes, let's do this. A very good morning to everyone here. Here, what I'm going to share is my small effort, which we did in the school to make our subject more engaging and enjoyable. So, so uh,
स्क्रीन तो यहाँ ऑलरेडी हमें स्लाइड शो में जा रहा है इधर इधर कंप्यूटर का होता है शेयर जूम मीटिंग में जाओ शेयर स्क्रीन करो उधर से होगा हाँ शेयर शेयर हो गई नहीं नहीं ये तो नहीं
हाँ तो इसके लिए डायरेक्ट केबल आपको देनी पड़ेगी ना इसके लिए क्योंकि आप जूम पे शेयर कर रहे हो अभी।
वो पहले कर रहे थे ना 2 मिनट पहले तो
फॉरवर्ड पॉइंट है
नहीं करके देखा नेहा
Ma'am, he had said actually.
हाँ which person had said
The one who was working on the YouTube one.
अच्छा अच्छा
He had said.
हाँ
ये जूम नहीं
जो YouTube पे काम कर रहे थे ना उन्होंने
Zoom से
डायरेक्ट शेयर करना चाह रहा हूँ पीपीटी से
ये है ये एंटायर स्क्रीन कर लो उसको।
इसमें टीवी में लगी ना विंडोज की मारे
हाँ डुप्लीकेट करो ना वही
पहले क्लिक करो
okay go ahead
as long as they are getting prepared with this. As I told that it was our small effort to make our subject more engaging and interesting. The basic idea was that they will be learning maths also and they'll appreciate the cultural heritage also because that's why this whole idea came up when CBSE last year asked for education through monuments. And then everybody around us, like in the staff, is also, okay, why maths? Maths with monuments, why not history? Why not languages? So here we must be experiencing every day that when you go to the class, children are saying, syllabus is over, let us go outside, let's go to the playground. So here I saw that there is an opportunity. I can take the students out of the classroom and there we can relate our concepts with real life situations, and they will enjoy also. There was one more thing at the back of my mind, which was my school is having a program, gifted education program, where collaboration with an institute for this program. They are conducting a test, and of only a few 4-5 children are selected every year for the middle grades only, 6, 7, 8. Ma'am, my marks are more than the others, so why I'm not selecting? So I saw the opportunity here that this activity I can take my entire class. So that's how this all came up. And then, yes, this slide only. So then we we just come up with this framework. That first we selected a monument. Of course, for selecting monuments, there were many points which were taken into consideration. Like we shortlisted few monuments, but keeping in the mind the safety of the children and some other administrative aspects, we finalized the Kutub complex. And then this was the framework. Like first, we went there without students so that we can point out the places and which topics we can relate, and we can conduct certain activities where children will be involved completely. It has to be done by them. And then, of course, there were, because that is a UNESCO heritage site, so we needed some permissions from NMAI, which is National Monument Authority of India, and which was a very tedious task also. And then taking dates from school administration for students visit, because there are also constraints for exams, unit tests, and all. So all these things first we come up with. We had this framework, all the maths teachers for middle school, and then we came up with certain planned activities and the dates, and parents were informed. So then the first activity, there were few activities which we have to do before we were going to the complex itself. Primary goal was only to make our subject more engaging, more interesting, so that students, the fear which they have, they should not be so fearful, and they must start loving it, that it is not as scary as it seemed to be. That was our core idea. And then were these activities which we took over there, we gave them certain assignments for which they have to calculate, like circumference of a minar. There were, in the Kutub complex, there are 6 monuments. So we selected some activities because we took grade 8 and 9 children, measuring the height of the tower using clinometer. Now, this activity, because the trigonometry is not introduced in grade 9 also, we took our grade 8 and grade 9 children. So for grade 9, first in the school itself, we took few classes for introducing the trigonometry and explaining them height and distances, measuring angle of elevation. They made the clinometer also in the school. And then grade 8 had these activities, exploring symmetry in the architecture, and then some architectural aspects of the monuments. Now, coming to this first activity, there were very constraints, seeming very easy, like we have taken the clinometer and we can find the height. But there were, on the ground, there were many limitations, like if we were going very near, the measurement of angle was very difficult, and that day was very windy. Students have made with that bob and the thread, the clinometer. And if we were going far away, there were structures in between the foot of the tower and the observer. So anyhow, we spotted children were taking rounds, and then they were, ma'am, here is the spot, here is the spot. And then we spotted a point from where we try to calculate it as possibly correct, to approximately to maximum level we can take it correctly. And because now that time I didn't did this activity with the skill, I'll be presenting it. So we have few recordings which I have mentioned here. This is the second. So this is the most nearest value we came up with. though the height is actually 73 meters, but what students calculated, and after adding that height of where the point of observation was, the nearest values were 68.2 meter and 65.9 meter. Actual is the 73 meters. And then the other activity which we did was this. This is a laminar which is incomplete structure over there, and it is said that Alauddin Khilji, he was making it that he'll make it as tall as 4 times the Qutub Minar. So we posed them the question that if he'll complete it, and then we have to plaster it, and we gave them, I'll show the worksheet, the question. So for that, they need to find out the radius of this minar. And we just got the permission to take this tape and the clinometer inside. Rest the things we didn't get the permission for. So what we had there, the problem, by using this tape, we could not complete the circumference. So then we were thinking, okay, now mark these 2 points, and then we can use the tape again. But students were, no, ma'am, let us do it by our footsteps. You can take the average footstep. So we want to do this. So we said, okay, fine. You do this, and we'll measure it by, we'll check it with the tape also. So that doing that, and the other thing was, Minar was almost 3 by 4 meter away from the boundary. It has a boundary around it. So whatever diameter, whatever circumference they get was the outer boundary. So what we did was, after getting the outer circumference, we subtracted that 3 by 4 meter, and so that we can get the actual radius. So that way they did it. And the most interesting part was that students were suggesting, okay, let us do by this, and we can do it by this way or this way. So these were the values which we came up with. This was the outer 81.64 was the outer circumference, and with the radius of this, then we subtracted that the outer length, and actual length is, actual circumference of the laminar is this, and we came up with 81.64. Grade 8 also did some activities where they were pointing out line translational symmetry, line symmetry, and rotational symmetry. Then there were two types of architectural structures. These screens have this cobble arc, and these domes have keystone arc, where you can see in the cobble arc, they have stacking of the bricks. And as you move up, it is coming outward. Keystone has only one stone, which is arced, and this is more stable one because it evenly distributes the weight. Tapering tower, students also made this scaled model where we couldn't take all the monuments in the scale. They took this Qutub Minar in scale 1:900, and the area. Only these two we took. These were the worksheets. When we came back, we give them as home assignments. So they calculated the radius of the Alai Minar. The very interesting thing was, students themselves come up. 2 girls made this comic book where they took only the monumental parts, not the masjid wal part, because they said, ki, ma'am, if we'll take masjid, writing something comical will not be appreciable. So that was the pocket book. Boys made it, where they have taken all the 6 monuments, and they've described all the mathematical features and architectural features. If time permits,
There is 1 minute.
I'll just click on this video. Video दूसरा वाला पीपीटी में
It should be a PPT, PDF में नीचे.
शेयर with me. इस पे चला लीजिए. मैंने आपको दोनों
इसके मतलब
मेल जो करे हमने दोनों करे है ना. हाँ?
I think you just
I-
described.
Yes, and the last anecdote I want to share here. 2 days back, before coming here on Thursday, I saw those kids who went there. So because I was not having all the recordings for those worksheets and this thing, so I asked, by any chance, if you have not cleared that old this your mother has not given to Raddiwala. So if you have any those worksheets or something, I want to take the pictures. This asked, why you need it right now? I said I have to take those recordings and I have to present somewhere. The very prompt answer was, we did there, na, so you take us there. We'll present. So that was very fulfilling one.
I'm sorry, the time is up.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
I now invite the third presenter, Suman Lata. The topic is Innovations in Mathematics Teaching and Learning, Experiences and Narratives from the Classroom. The PDF, right?
It's PPT.
Morning to everyone. Innovation in mathematics teaching and learning. Innovation doesn't mean that I'm bringing something from other planet. These are the ways all are using in our classrooms to teach our children to make them understand according to their need. As in Army Public School, we have very type crowds, so we need uh, methods to teach them. So general perception in the about the maths is it is very difficult subject and it is a real challenge for the children to keep the children engaging and enhance their interest in the mathematics. So what I'm going to share are my real experiences from the classrooms. So one by one, we will take the teaching methods. First is inductive to and deductive teaching. So it will start with the inductive teaching. We can explain the concept and then we can derive the results from the student itself. Example I'm going to take is types of triangles. Like we can explain the types of triangles and then we can give them the matchsticks. With the help of 3 sticks, they are able to form a triangle, and with the help of 5 matchsticks, they will be able to form a isosceles triangle and right angle triangle also. But with the help of 4 matchsticks in the middle picture, the student is not able to make a triangle. So we can ask them why. Because the property is sum of 2 sides should be greater than the third side. So they will learn from this and they will not forget it. Similarly, coordinator can be explained and their properties can be explained by the teacher, or you can wait for them to describe the properties. So we can give them matchsticks. They will form the rhombus and sphere, and then we learn how the rhombus is forming and how the sphere. What is the difference between them? And then they can go for the diagonal also. If we can do this property in the class 8, this activity in class 8, and we can repeat in class 9 because new children will come to our school. So coordinator chapter will be easy for them. Similarly, we can give more mathematics and they can form rectangle and parallelogram also. Then the problem solving method. In this method, they need to analyze and then apply the knowledge they have gained through us or the formulas they have learned. So one question from the class 9th I have taken in the class. A volume of a solid formed when a right angle triangle is revolved around one of its sides. So I have shown a video and then I tell them that you can make a working model on this so that we can keep it in the maths lab. So what children have did, I will show you. They have made immediately. They are coming up this model. They have stick this right angle triangle on a pencil with the help of stapler and just they rotate it and show in the class. So the whole class was amazed and they learned this question, and I think they will never forget it. Then the playway method. In this method, this learn through playway techniques, playway activities, and we can relate the maths with our daily life. So when I am teaching the surface area or area in the classroom, so I told them to find the area of this room. Like this room is also tiled, so our maths lab is also a tiled, have also a tiled floor. So what they need to do, they need to find the area of one tile, and then they have go for the shape of that tile also, and then they can multiply the number of tile with area of one tile. So students are doing this. In this period, they don't have measuring tape. So I told them, let us measure our own tape. I have given them sutli, जो होती है बोरी सिलने वाली, and then I told them to put the inches with the help of scale, and the measuring tape was ready. Then go for cylindrical pillar. There are pillars in our school, so we can tell them to find the surface area of this pillar also. Then the project method. This is the practical approach, but it's थोड़ा lengthy है. So in statistics, we are supposed to give this method. We are giving the projects to find to draw a pie chart and double bar graph for the marks scored by a child in PT1 and PT2, and then compare your progress. And for pie chart, I used to tell them collect the data from your class only. Suppose you are a class of 36 students, so then it is good enough. But if the 35 students are present, so 36 person will be me, and they will collect the data for like butterscotch, vanilla, flavors of the ice cream. We can give 4 flavors. कि जो अपनी choice है वो आप बता दो. And the immediately data will be ready, and then they go for the communities to collect the different type of data. Then gamification can be introduced in the lower classes, or in the higher classes also a little bit of this we can introduce. Like GeoGebra, yesterday we have learned. Then inquiry based learning. So we can create an atmosphere in the class. We can give a thought to the child, and then they will inquire and they will come up with the good ideas. I taught height and distance in the class. So I told कि theta change करने पे we can change the angle, we can change the slope. So in the slide we use this concept. So for younger children we use small angle, and for the elder children the slide where more slope is required, so we will keep the angle more. So I told them, can you make a project? So one of my child has made this project. He has made a slide both for younger and elder children by changing the theta with the hydraulic pressure. And this project was got selected at Innovation Spark Award Hyderabad, but we could not go for the next level. Then recreational activities are there. This is also a recreational mathematics. We can pose games and puzzles to the children for the ice breaking sessions during the starting of session. Then tic-tac-toe game is there. We have made it on the charts, that is in maths lab. Children can play this game and they can learn the tables also. Then this is the magic sphere. In class 7th, we have a question and we can tell them to make more magic spheres like that. My favorite activity. By moving 3 sticks, you can change the face of this fish. So I used to give this activity in the class कि चलो आज ये बनाते हैं, ये करते हैं. तो थोड़ी देर लेते हैं वो time, and then few students are able to do it. Answer I am giving you. This all is for creating the interest among the children. Now, the outcome of applying all these innovative methods are be able to prepare the students to listen us, and fear will be reduced, and they will think a ma'am is approachable and they will ask questions. They will not fear to ask the questions. Then classroom will be a happy classroom and there will be a learning through doing also. That's all. My gratitude to all of you. Thank you so much.
I now invite the last presenter. The slides. Huh? I've just been informed that the time has been extended for this session and we can have a good discussion after.
Slideshow.
Yeah.
No, in the front of camera. Yeah. Yes.
Good morning to all of you. First of all, I'm thankful to our chairperson, Dr. Ruchi, MTA, and SCERT Haryana, SIST Gurugram, for inviting me to share my learning outcomes of Maxima software through mobile for mathematics at undergraduate level. As all of us we know, Maxima is a powerful open source computer algebra system that can be efficiently used in calculating, calculating or educating mathematics. It allows learners to develop commands at their own pace. It provides tools for algebraic manipulations, symbolic computations, and more. Maxima also has powerful mathematical capabilities with free mobile software that is affordable to anyone without any license requirement. It is also available for Android mobiles, device, and tablets. Learners can use it offline, making it convenient for learning whatever they need to. The installation size is only around 150 MB, ensuring efficient storage usage. Having Maxima on a mobile app allows learners to carry it wherever needed. They can explore mathematical concepts during commutes, breaks, or anywhere, anytime. User can explore real-world scenario, create mathematical models, and analyze data. This study focuses on the learning mathematics with Maxima software on a mobile device to implement the National Education Policy 2020 at the undergraduate level. The main objectives of this study was to create a user-friendly, inexpensive environment for practical sessions of mathematics, in particularly calculus, through Maxima using mobile for undergraduates. And the second objective was to utilize the mobile data of the learners or the students for informative purpose. In fact, in our institution, II and HS, Kurukshetra Vishwavidyalaya, Kurukshetra was the first institution where NEP 2020 was implemented first. In that curriculum of mathematics, in all the 6 semesters, there are one compulsory course for 4 credit, and 3 credits we have to teach theory, and one credit course is taught with the help of the technology. In our syllabi, we have to teach for the first semester calculus with the maximum, and 330 students for physical sciences and 60 students for BA was registered for the same. They got admission for the same. And the problem was there earlier, there was only a single paper of programming C and numerical methods, where we had a single lab. And here the problem was that 320 students plus 60, 380 students को हर semester में
प्रैक्टिकली आपको उसको प्रैक्टिकली एक्टिविटीज करवानी है. In that case, we decided maxima through mobile and conducted an experiment with the help of my senior research fellow, Nikita. Due to her health issue, she couldn't come. But that study is based on our real experiment conducted in first semester studies. In that study, we have selected 150 students. Out of these 380 students, and these 150 students are those which are taught by me and my research fellow. There was another teacher, and with that other also research fellow. That was another section. That is the result of that I taught with my research fellow. There were the two phases. In phase 1, the topic was calculus, and in phase 1, mode of instructions was lecture method that was taught by me, and in the second phase, it was the mode of instruction was mobile for teaching the maxima that was taught by the Nikita, and I was along with her. I have included the screenshots where we can calculate. In fact, with the help of maxima, even a single if we applied a single command, we can solve a big huge calculation, even a single command. Suppose I have to calculate 10x, 3x. Then just giving the command of, just a minute. Just giving the command, just mention even tan 3x. Then just giving the command trigonometrical trig expand. It will expand the formula. Then give the command trig resh. It will rationalize the formula. Next, then if we want to reduce it, we will give the single command trig trig, because it is the trigonometrical function reduce. And similarly, if we want to calculate the derivative, say x square minus xy, because it is the part of the curriculum, I have taken all 9 examples which the learners did in the practical sessions. X square minus xy plus yq is equal to 7. And we have to find the derivative of this with the help of maxima. We have just taken initialize even as the differentiation of, we have to find the, just given the command of differentiation and write down inside the statement x square minus xy plus yq minus this one. Yes, x square minus xy plus yq minus 7. Then just giving the command, it will work. And another command, it will be added because we have to calculate the derivative of product x dot y. Then again, we solve that. And we had the answer. Similarly, for the example, for the expansions, x plus y plus z raised to power 10, you know, it is the big, if we do it manually, it will take too much time. But just to give in the command expand, it will work. And it will give you in one line. Similarly, if you have to calculate the singular points, x square x minus y plus y square is equal to 0, you have to calculate fx, fy, then put fx is 0, fy. All is calculated. Even main in nutshell, we can say even giving a in single command, we can calculate a big calculations within a minute, within a seconds, even within a seconds. And this one y is equal to log x plus 1 plus x square raised to power 1 by 2. Prove that this is the solution of this. We have just given the one command, it is solved. Now, next integration is also added. Also, we have plotted the curve with the help of maxima. Because time is going on, I am just adding one limitations. जितना भी करिकुलम NEP 2020 पर बना हुआ था हमारा यूनिवर्सिटी का, उसमें हमने प्लॉटिंग ऑफ द कर्व, डिफरेंशिएशन, इंटीग्रेशन, डेफिनेट इंटीग्रल, इन सबको सॉल्व किया, सब में सक्सेसफुल रहा. बट जब हमने प्लॉट किया इम्प्लिसिट फंक्शन को, तो there was the error with the help of mobile. We tried a lot, but when we solved on the laptop, it was this one. It was available. For that, we add load function in mobile, then it works. And in the nutshell, because as time is going on, I would like to say using mobile in place of highly structured computer lab can create a user-friendly, inexpensive environment for teaching practical sessions of mathematics through Maxima at undergraduate. Similarly, I can, we all can solve, we can use it for the algebra, differential equations, and advanced calculus. Moreover, the students can utilize their mobile data specifically for educative purpose. In the end, we met with our objectives. Thank you so much.
Now we can have discussion, and I've been told that discussion time has been extended to 12:45. So we have around 25 minutes and we can have a very good discussion. So I invite people to ask questions. We can start first with Shruti ma'am itself.
Yes.
And because her presentation is fast.
Yes. It is, yes, it is meant for, it is available free, it is available for Android, not for Apple. iPhones not. iOS के लिए नहीं है. It is only available for Androids.
Please go ahead.
Are
mobiles allowed in the exam, or you are asking only commands?
नहीं,
During
in
exam.
practical exams we allowed for the mobiles. We allowed for the mobiles because we have set up that type of the scenario.
This is for practical purpose.
This is only for practical.
Any other people? Any other person? And I do have the question that
Yeah.
when you solve, ask them to give these commands and solve it, and it is solving it quickly.
Yes.
So, what kind of mathematical understanding is it developing among students just by getting the equations solved? What purpose it is serving?
Its purpose is that is the beauty of the technology. In fact, three credit is meant for solving each step practically. And one step is how in the digital age, how the technology is involved in the classroom.
Of course, the technology can help in solving those mathematics.
Yeah.
But does it, what I am curious to know, does it also help them in understanding some part of mathematics which they will not understand if they don't use technology?
If they don't use,
No, what mathematics are they understanding by solving it, using it?
they just got the calculation. As far as the mathematical steps, they learn from theory class.
Any other questions?
Steps of all the steps of order can be
For the algebraic extensions.
But that would have been done even in classroom situation also. Showing what is technology. Trying to just understand that. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. I now invite questions for Suman Lata. Suman Lata, if you can stand up, people will recognize. Yeah, keep going. So her presentation was on innovations in mathematics, teaching and learning, experiences and narratives from the classroom. She talked about different types of resources, including using matchsticks for triangles and several Any other person?
I have learned in our AI workshop. They told us like stone, scissor, and paper.
Paper.
Game.
हाँ.
So that was the gamification. They told us.
Go ahead.
I have a question for myself. Like activities with efficiency. Instead of giving questions like what kind of, we started with base numbers only, and then we gave the symbol. Like then bricks, like in the first few bricks, there were two integers. In the next step, next brick was to be filled with the answer of and ultimately on the top.
You have to reach the top.
Yes, that the last number was given. That would give a validation to the child whether he has crossed the process successfully. I think that is called gamifying the games.
Yes, I think so, but that is just my yeah. But I think you would want to respond to that, please.
Yes, ma'am. It is gamifying the concept. I'm not the expert of gamification actually. Whatever I have learned that
I think so. Then we can move to any other questions related to that, related to her presentation. नहीं गेमिफिकेशन के अलावा क्योंकि उस पर हमने काफी डिस्कशन कर लिया तो उसके अलावा किसी और पूछना चाहेंगे आप लोग
क्लासरूम एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में
हाँ
तो
उन्होंने काफी सारे क्लासरूम एक्सपीरियंसेस शेयर किए थे related to measurement. Some were very inexpensive devices like वो पेन के साथ स्टेपल करके और उसका लिए matchstick use करने के लिए. These are very inexpensive things that can be done in the classroom and the students can do themselves and figure out anything.
Practical learning in the classroom.
It was a student's effort, ma'am.
Yeah.
I just told them, okay, you can make a model, working model. What we were doing with the help of that object he has made, we were showing them which type of solid is forming. Volume, so we will find with the help of formula only. उनको सॉलिड समझने में ही दे आर हैविंग प्रॉब्लम के अगर हम ट्रायंगल को वी आर रोटेटिंग सो विच टाइप ऑफ सॉलिड वी आर गेटिंग क्योंकि दे हैव टू विजुअलाइज दैट कि कैसे घूम रहे हैं और कौन टीचर तो बता देगा कि कौन बनेगा बट हाउ इट इज फॉर्मिंग सो दे कैन एक्सपीरियंस इट विद द हेल्प ऑफ दैट ऑब्जेक्ट दे हैव मेड एनी अदर क्वेश्चन
With the help of one small sticker, and it gives a proper shape of the
You can see her.
Yeah, if you increase the rotation,
yes,
तब वो दिखता है.
we just rotate it like this
ऐसे करके इस तरह से आप रोटेट करोगे अगर तो
any other question
so thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Now invite Renu Joshi. Her presentation was an experiential journey in Qutub complex where students did several activities including finding the height of the Qutub Minar using clinometer and circumference of the Minar also. So, and there were certain differences that she had shown what was found with the measurement and what was the actual. Anything that you want to ask? I think that's very interesting.
Sorry. We give one kind of perimeter of that alignment. Yes, because there were some the
Outer boundary and inner boundary.
That concept is not clear. How
Why you found outer?
Ma'am, actually, Minar is like almost, you can say, 3 by 4 meter away from that boundary and pillars, and wiring is being done.
We are
So
not allowed to go.
we are not allowed to go inside. So what we did was we found out that outer perimeter, and then from that what we radius calculated, we subtracted that difference. That difference.
Just let me know what was the error.
No, ma'am, I gave the value. In this second activity, the error was very less, but the other one, it was, I told like 73 was the Minar's height, but we nearest was 68 or 65 point. But in the Alai Minar, what we calculated the radius after finding the circumference, it was coming out to be 13, but actual is 12.2 meters.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to know, was there any discussion in the classroom about the differences between this? Because that is a very interesting discussion to have.
Yes.
So what happened in your classroom?
Ma'am, for these days, because students also know, they first thing is that they check that what is the difference, how much we are. So, seeing all those constraints, like the surface is also not very, I would say, even,
Exactly.
and they are not to go near also, and it is like slope is also there. So we give them this clarification that though errors will be there, but this is the actual way to do by using mathematics, though the values which Google is giving, that is using scientific instruments, which we are not doing. We are using our concepts.
Yeah. So, but was there any, I mean, what do you all think about measurement and error? Would there like, can there be a instrument through which there will, like, you know, the error is reduced or minimal, but can there be an instrument जिसमें कोई error हो ही नहीं? ऐसा possible है? नहीं. Measurement में तो हमेशा error होता ही है ना. तो ये understanding क्या बच्चों को डेवलप हो पाई, क्योंकि हम प्रैक्टिकल्स भी जब करते हैं 11th 12th में 10th में भी, तब हम लोग आपको याद हो कि क्या करते थे, हम लोग सीधे आंसर पता करके लिखते थे. आई मीन वी ऑल नो दैट, राइट? हाँ, क्योंकि और उसमें देयर वाज अ फीलिंग एट दैट टाइम कि एग्जैक्ट होना चाहिए, जो है वैसा वैसा ही आना चाहिए. अगर हम मेजर कर रहे हैं और कुछ अलग आ रहा है तो हम हमारी गलती है. But the fact is that measurement में हमेशा errors होता है. तो ऐसा कुछ आपका discussion?
Ma'am, there was like I told, one part of the activity was when we were covering, so some distance was left our tape ended. So students said no, let us do it by our footstep length. So what we did was we took the average footstep, like 2 children we selected. So because they were keen, otherwise we could have used the tape for remaining part also. So what we did was we took the child took 10 steps and we took out the average average length of the step, and then that same child covered that distance, and we did it by that method, average out, and then they checked it with the before us they wanted to check it. So let me see now whether what I took with my footsteps is it same with matching with the length on the tape, actual length. So they were trying this.
Real world example developed among the students the approximate solution and exact solution.
Yeah, I think it does, but I think you can explore a little bit more there when you do it next time. About not just about the height and differences, but also understanding of this measurement and errors also.
Because this time we could only plan 2 visits, one with grade 8 and one with grade 9. It was by the end of the session. So we have now planned for the coming session for each grade level, as we are at least at each class can go once. And one thing which was the limitation which I felt, that we pick up the monument, which is like very high profile. So now this time we are planning, we'll take a monument or any other place which will be easily accessible, and we don't have so many constraints with that.
Yeah, you can do something in the school itself.
Yes, that one we are doing, like we have those topics, visualizing solids. So whenever I have to ask my children for the mapping layout plan, so I ask them to go and take a round, and then now for the school campus you make a layout plan, and then home activity we are giving for your house, you have to make a
layout plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I now invite Neha Babuda. Neha, She presented Beyond the Textbook, a constructive journey through a system of linear equations, and she presented several activities that the students did. That she had created for linear equations. Anything that you want to ask? Yeah, go ahead with questions.
More lights on the game that you had done on the senior equation.
See, the game is a Desmos activity. You can search for it. I'll find the name, but it is related to Pac-Man, and it was a previous knowledge testing activity. It only worked for the Cartesian plane thing. Since before we move on to plotting the linear equations, I just wanted them to go through what Cartesian plane is, whatever they knew, and then build upon that from there. What do you think? How will a line be drawn? So they were very, they were comfortable in saying if the points are such that if we join them, we get a straight line, we will get a straight line. So then the question from the game was, how can this line be represented? So they said, ma'am, line to bana di. और क्या represent करें? So I said, this is geometrically. कुछ algebraically भी हो सकता है, कुछ maths हो सकती है इस line के बारे में. So that took the discussion to linear equation that, it can be seen like a line and mathematically it is an equation. So we took that discussion from there and moved on to that real life Cartesian plane where I divided my class into two groups. So one group just said, because there are more than 40, everybody can't actually run on the ground itself. So 20 were divided into two groups and they were given certain points. So that was very easy. Abhi plot karke aaye the, फटाफट भागे, they put some flag somewhere and then they drew those two lines by standing on those points. And then the questions were that if these two lines are intersecting, then we took this discussion. So they were the people who were acting, they were playing, they were happy, but the others who were sitting, they were the actual ones who were studying. So my questions were with them. So ye to engaged thing. So those free ones would have never paid attention. So the questions were with them. So they were the ones who were first checking whether they are all standing at the right point. So that is one way. So we ensured everything was going well. And then with them, the questions were, what do you think the linear equation will be for these points? Started there, we were continuing here. So it is very difficult for students to look at the points and then design the equation. Equation se answer nikalna we teach them, but point se equation banana was really fun. And they kept getting wrong answers, but it was wonderful. Yes, sir. These are wonderful activities.
Amber, please go ahead.
I mean, they know that if it's y equal ax plus b, it should be a line. But if they're asked why it should be a line,
Plot करके देख लो.
how do you construct? No, so the thing is, if once they have been told that this is the equation, then of course they can check, they can plot the points and see if this equation is a line.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering about is how do you go from the geometric thing to the, without being told a linear equation? If there's some activity that can be done that
I will explore, sir. That is not part of the curriculum. So I was feeling that I have still given them something extra to think about. But yes, we did with a trial and error. So some of them got the right answer, but it was trial and error. They tried different equations. They had an idea that it will be a linear equation because that is what they had done in class 9th. So I couldn't take away that information from them, but I will try to do these things with my 9th who are actually not aware of the concepts. So I will definitely try, but we did with a hit and trial method because that part is still not there in our curriculum at all. So it was already, we were doing an extra enrichment for the students. So the aim was that they were able to link the equation with the graph. And whenever we say these solutions you are getting here are also part of the points on the line, that is a beautiful thing. Many of them are not able to relate. So there was an improvement in that connection.
So, however, when the first activity that you have done, where you gave the equation and then have asked, something about the number of notebooks and pens, there was some worksheet was there. So instead of the number of notebooks and pen, if it is the price of it or how the price is changing over time.
I would like to show that activities. It is
Yeah.
wonderful because it works with their previous
So we
knowledge,
can
which is very bare minimum.
Yeah.
So
No,
I have those
I was trying
worksheet.
to make a point there
Yeah.
that if you think about how the price is changing over time or something like that, would it be in a form of a linear equations or not?
Yeah.
The change of the price of the
Yeah.
notebooks and the
Got your
pens.
point.
So
Lovely
that
point.
perhaps can help what
Sir
others
is
were saying.
trying to say, yeah.
Perhaps.
Because when we teach in 8th, we teach something about linear equation solving. Then we teach them direct and inverse variation. And towards the end, we teach them introduction to graphs. Actually, the 3 topics are the same. So that I try to do, but I will work on this point and create that assignment like that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.